You're watching the Isaiah Factor Uncensored.
Welcome and thank you for joining us for the second half hour, The Factor Uncensored. Some Gen Z men are finding all kinds of issues with the hunt for a job after graduating, and a study says the degree isn't worth much to employers. According to research, the unemployment rate for Gen Zers who recently earned a degree is on the rise at 5.5%. Joining us to talk about it, Gen Zers Cole Anderson, Jordan Sinnett, and Raina Mejia. Raina, you're a regular now.
Yes.
And always here for these Gen Z issues. How depressing is this? Have you had any problems getting into your field?
Yeah, this is very, very depressing, and it's very frustrating for all of us Gen Zers because we're going to school like we were told to, we're getting our degrees like we were told to, but why is it so much harder to get a degree outside of school, and why do we make more money doing things that don't require a degree than with our degree? So are there regrets there for you now? Okay.
Or?
That's a good question, because no, I don't regret getting educated, but do I feel like, would I advocate for many people to keep going to college? No, I wouldn't, because you don't need it. I have friends that are in service industries, hospitality industries, making more money, maybe 3 times the amount of money as I was making when I had like a regular corporate job. And then now that I'm not in the corporate life anymore, I'm working for myself, but I feel like I was lucky because I had the connections. My friends who don't have connections to get a job, they're jobless and they're still looking.
Jordan, your thoughts about this? Feel the same way she does, or what?
Yeah, for me, it's kind of different because I didn't have the experience, not finding a job out of college specifically. I was lucky enough to be able to find a job after college, even while I was in college too.
Okay.
And I just was able to make connections within my internship that I got, and then eventually going full time. But I don't have the same issues, but I do have a lot of friends that have the same issues.
Yeah.
And they tell me like, hey man, how do you even break into the industry? Like, we're trying all these things. We're going to college. We're doing all these different programs and trying to reach out to people, LinkedIn, stuff like that. But they're not finding anything. And so I think when it comes to the degree, it might not be necessary anymore, because a lot of places and a lot of people, they don't need degrees to even make a lot of the money that Raina was saying. You can find these jobs and these experiences and these opportunities without having a degree. So.
All right, Cole, your thoughts about this?
So, what kind of she was saying about connections. Luckily, I work for my cousin. Without that connection, I'll probably at home, being a loser on the game or something like that. But luckily, I had a cousin that said, hey, you want to work with me? Because I was unemployed for about a month. I mean, it's nothing terrible, but I have some parents, she's watching, my mom, shout out, that she was like, hey, if you're under this household, if you're going to be lazy, I'm going to need you to work. Because in my house, I was doing
Way
football.
to go, Mom.
Yeah, hey, love you, Mom. In my house, I was doing football, and my dad was always saying, hey, as long as you're still in football, that's your job. But if you're not in football, you're going to find a job. So I stuck by that the rest of my life. I didn't do football no more. So okay, let's go kick it to high gear and let's go get that job and let's get some money.
Now, with the slow integration we are seeing, guys, with AI, artificial intelligence, does that concern you as well? That concerns all of us. But are you guys in the Gen Z era, are you guys concerned about it?
Yeah, actually I have a story about that. I recently met with a client, one of my clients recently. I was making, I do a lot of freelance marketing work, right? And my client literally told me, she said, your biggest competition is AI. She's like, and I'm not even going to like sugarcoat anything. Like you're competing with AI right now. Because if I don't hire you to do this, I'm just doing it myself with AI. And I was like, oh, no one's ever told me that before. But she was like straight up, and I appreciated it.
And how can you compete with that? Something that's damn near free.
Yeah.
Jordan, your thoughts?
I don't really worry about AI taking my job per se, but I think in my industry you have to know how to use it to be good at your job. I think a lot of integrations with AI and video editing. There's a lot that you can use with it to your benefit, but then there's a lot that you don't want to use with it because it's not really. It doesn't have that human touch. I think a lot of
and we've seen some attorneys get into trouble trying to use it in the court system. Cole, wrap us up in the last 20 seconds.
So my particular job, everything's on hand. I don't have to worry about AI, but I just feel like if I was someone that was doing online work and an AI took my job, a robot took my job, I'm gonna be mad because that thing is not even, I can't even see that thing, and it just took my job. I just took what takes care of my family, takes care of my kids. I'll be pissed.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what we all have to worry about. Thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored.